Night Before Christmas Unleashed podcast. This one is going to be audio only because honestly, I can't do this episode without getting pretty emotional. It's not that I'm like too manly to be seen crying. Honestly, it's because I'm an ugly crier. I don't know how some people can cry and keep talking or singing. I am not one of those fortunate ones. But today isn't going to be very long. But I promise you, it's probably sponsored by Puffs. So it's going to be impactful. It's going to be emotional. And you're going to feel this one. And honestly, that's good. So let's just kind of start off. I want to ask you, what are your memories of Christmas? Did your mom bake cookies at Christmas time? If you were like me, maybe you helped your dad decorate, the outside lights. Maybe you go sled riding, when you got back to the house. Or maybe there was a cup of hot chocolate, waiting for you. And I was really fortunate because I had all those things. And my family, we would pack up the car, at the holidays, especially at Christmas, and we would drive 300 miles to go visit my grandma, who lived all the way across Pennsylvania. We were on the west side; she was on the east side, up near Scranton, Pennsylvania. She lived alone in a really small house, and boy, there's just so many memories that I have when I go back. Somehow my grandmother, she always made sure that we had everything that we needed. She'd always have something to eat when we would get there. She made these sandwiches called Wimpies, which my mother got the recipe and made them. They were just amazing. But she would always make sure that when we got there, she would have those things ready for us. I'm trying to think of the year. It was 1981, April of 1981 when she passed away. I was 20. And all of my memories that I can remember, from a child growing up, she was always pretty weak and pretty frail. My grandfather had passed away many, many years earlier. I think it was something called black lung. He was a miner. But as soon as we would arrive, at Grandma's house, after she'd give me a big hug, I would run straight to her bedroom, and I would open the top drawer of her dresser. This was Grandma's junk drawer, and for a young kid, it was always magical to me. I might find I think there was a red rubber ball that I'd look for, and there'd be a set of jacks. I'd be playing by myself. I didn't know how to do it, but it didn't matter. I just loved, playing with whatever she had in there. She had, I think there was always a little purple Matchbox car. There were little green army men. She had some in there. She kept some in the cupboard where she kept the cereal back in the back of the house too. And I, just get these things out, and my imagination would go crazy with all these things. We didn't have PlayStations or Game Boys or Xboxes or cell phones, computers or anything like back then. But we didn't need them. We had our imagination, and that is one of the most magical gifts that God created us with. Whatever our minds could dream up for those childhood years, it became our reality, and it was wonderful. When it was time to leave Grandma's house, it was always hard. We'd pack up the car, and she'd stand there on the porch. She'd still be waving until our car disappeared around the corner every single time. And she also did something else that was really special. She would pack us a shoebox of surprises, like with candies and small toys. And then she would always save one of her empty pill bottles that she'd put $1 in. And it was really all she could afford, but she always gave whatever she had. And I can remember as we would pull away, it being really silent in the car for about the first 10 minutes or so as we left. And I didn't understand it then, but I do now. Because you never knew if you would see them again. That's just the reality. And in those first 10 or 15 minutes, it would be sinking into my parents. I'm busy waiting to open that surprise box. We had to wait until we got on this one row before I'd be allowed to open it. But that silence spoke volumes because of the depth of the love. And as I grew into an adult, and I would come home to visit for the holidays with my own parents, who I was living in Indiana, they were in Pennsylvania, it was always the same thing. Mom would have that same special wimpy sandwiches. They'd be hot and waiting for us on the stove when we walked through the door, even if it was midnight. And when it was time to leave and drive back to Indiana, she would pack the kids a little surprise, and then she and Dad would stand on the front porch, still waving, until we were out of sight. I do that now. When my daughter, who lives 3 hours away, comes back to visit, I stand on the porch and I wave until she's gone around the corner. No matter how cold it is out, it doesn't matter if it's raining, I do the same thing. Those are great memories, and I am so blessed, and I know that, to have had so many. There's a lot of people that haven't been as fortunate. They say that we take the good memories that we have and we tuck them in our pocket, but the bad memories stick to our heart. And this time of the year is really difficult for many people. If you've lived life long enough, you're going to go through hard times. You're going to go through tragic times, loss, times you wish you could cast those bad thoughts into the deepest sea or just throw them off a cliff. Because some memories, they bring good tears, but man, others will haunt you like the ghost of Christmas past. Those are the ones that are hard not to go into a deep state of sadness. I get it. It was just after Christmas in 2013, and my parents had been in Indiana, over Christmas and New Year's to spend the holidays. I'd taken them back to the airport to return to Florida, where they'd been spending their winter since Dad had retired, a number of years before. And you couldn't walk them to their gate, ever since 911 happened because of the security issues. But I watched them turn the corner to head to security until they were out of sight, and I was still waving. I was speaking in Canada just a few days later, and I got a call from my sister. Mom and Dad had been sitting at a red light. They were back in Florida, and a 16-year-old girl texting on her phone didn't look up, doing about 60 miles an hour, and she rear-ended their van. My aunt and uncle were also in the van with them, and it was a violent crash that left all of them injured, but none more severe than my dad. He was life-flighted to Tampa as he had bleeding on the brain, and as he slipped into a coma that took several months to come out of, we never got that part of Dad back again, where he really understood everybody and everything. And it wouldn't be too many more months until Dad would pass, and Mom followed him into eternity, just a few months later. And I was sitting at our kitchen table the other day, and now we're here in 2024. And we have a little small Christmas tree that's in the corner of our kitchen by the dinner table. And in the middle of that tree hangs a picture, and I'm going to put that picture up as the thumbnail for this podcast. But it's a framed ornament of my parents together with the words inscribed underneath, "Love you more." And it's right below their faces. One of the things that we used to always say to each other is, "I love you more than you'll ever know." So there's a lot of meaning behind that. And as I looked at that picture, for some reason, my emotions, they all came to the surface. Just instantly. And the tears, man, my eyes just blew up. And have you ever had that happen before? It's like, wow, where did that come from? And yeah, they were sad tears because I miss them. But they were also incredibly grateful and thankful tears because of the love that we had in our family. Family matters. I know that there are many of you out there listening who can relate to the loss that I'm talking about in different ways, maybe sometimes the same way. I hope not. But I know you understand and can feel the thankfulness as well if you had loving parents. And as I sat there, I was replaying in my mind all those waves goodbye in my head. Every time we go around the corner, it was like that final thing saying, "I see you and I will never stop waving." And then it hit me. I had recorded a song years ago that I never released. It was just a demo. But I went upstairs to my office where I'm doing the podcast now, opened up my computer, went way back looking for files. Son of a gun, I found it. And I want to end today's Christmas podcast, because many of you are going to be hearing this on Christmas Eve. I want to end the podcast with this song. And I want to end it with a message of hope and love, and to encourage you that even if you've lost those dearest to you, maybe it's from the loss of death of a loved one, maybe it's from an estranged relationship, I want you to focus on the birth and the gift of Jesus, because he brought us reconciliation. And my prayer would be that if you do have estranged loved ones, that there would be reconciliation, that you would find with that person. Never, ever quit reaching out to them, loving them well. And here's the beautiful thing, though. If we have lost those loved ones, that wave goodbye, if they're a believer in Jesus Christ, will one day turn into a wave hello. Here's the chorus of that song, and I just want to end with this before the song plays. So I will still be waving the next time I see your face. These tears will turn to laughter, 'cause the pain will be erased. So for now we'll say a goodbye, for tomorrow we'll say hello. And I will still be waving the next time I see your face. Friends, Merry Christmas, and you are loved.
Watched you pull away, wishing I could save the minutes just before you said goodbye. A week now since you left, these memories never rest. How I wanna hear your voice and see your eyes. Told me just to wave, you watched me fade away. You swore to keep me in your mirrored view. So like a child I stay, remembering your face, hoping as you left, somehow you knew that I will still be waving the next time I see your face. These tears will turn to laughter, 'cause the pain will be erased. So for now we'll say a goodbye, for tomorrow we'll say hello. And I will still be waving the next time I see your face. Cleaned your room, knowing guests would be here soon to occupy the spaces you once filled. I opened up the drawers and swept behind the door and asked the sun to spill over the sill. Touched a picture frame and spoke aloud your name. I thought I felt you there beside the bed. And though I want you here, safe and sure and near, for now I know you wave from up ahead. will still be waving the next time I see your face. These tears will turn to laughter, 'cause the pain will be erased. So for now we'll say a goodbye, for tomorrow we'll say hello. And I will still be waving the next time I see your still be waving the next time I see your face. These tears will turn to laughter, 'cause the pain will be erased. So for now we'll say a goodbye, for tomorrow we'll say hello. And I will still next time I see